FBI just had a press conference. It was live a few minutes before the show. And so we're going to watch these together, ladies and gentlemen, as the FBI, who at this moment does not have a suspect in custody. I will admit to you, I do not wish to engage in wild speculation here, but something is very, very strange about this. It is not what happened in Butler. It was a single shot, captured from many angles. As far as I know, there has been no footage released on social media of the shooter, but the FBI does have footage. And they have information. So we're going to go from the FBI first. Then we're going to cover what Steven Crowder released this morning. And then we're going to cover what some experts are saying about whether this was a professional hit job, potentially something that is far beyond what we've seen in this country in a very long time, which is a state actor assassination. That's not my speculation. That's someone with direct access to the FBI, and we'll play you all of the clips. It's John Solomon. But let's begin with the FBI this morning. The shooter was on the roof. The shooter was on the roof. Let's go. See here. You can see here. This is all that we have thus far. Small blips of a very dark shooter on the roof, clearly wearing black. The FBI has images and has tracked the movements of this assassin. Go.
Through all that work last night, we were able to make a few breakthroughs. We were able to track the movements of the shooter. Starting at 11:52 a.m., the subject arrived on campus, shortly away from campus. We have tracked his movements onto the campus, through the stairwells, up to the roof, across the roof to a shooting location. After the shooting, we were able to track his movements as he moved to the other side of the building, jumped off of the building, and fled off of the campus and into a neighborhood. Our investigators have worked through those neighborhoods, contacting anybody they can with doorbell cameras, witnesses, and have thoroughly worked through those communities, trying to identify any leads. We do have good video footage of this individual. We are not going to release that at this time. We are working through some technologies and some ways to identify this individual. If we are unsuccessful, we will reach out to you as the media and we will push that publicly to help us identify them. But we are confident in our abilities right now, and we would like to move forward in a manner that keeps everyone safe and moves this process appropriately.
The FBI has palm prints, fingerprints, and DNA evidence of the shooter. What you just heard there is that they have the shooter crisply and clearly on multiple angles of security tape, and they are now engaged in a massive manhunt. I'm going to abstain from wild speculation on this. But the fact that no one is in custody right now enrages me. There's something very dark going on here. We have further evidence. We're going to tell you where it's from and who it's from. That this may be potentially a professional hit job. This may potentially be a political hit job from exactly where you'd expect. Let's continue on with the evidence we have now. The FBI saying that we have palm prints and DNA and fingerprints. Go.
Following yesterday's tragic shooting of Charlie Kirk, FBI agents have been working around the clock in coordination with our law enforcement partners. We are and will continue to work nonstop until we find the person that has committed this heinous crime and find out why they did it. This morning I can tell you that we have recovered what we believe is the weapon that was used in yesterday's shooting. It is a high-powered bolt-action rifle. That rifle was recovered in a wooded area where the shooter had fled. So the FBI laboratory will be analyzing this weapon. Investigators have also collected footwear impression, a palm print, and forearm imprints for analysis. Now, I understand there are a lot of questions about motive. I assure you that all leads, tips, and tips are being fully investigated. As of this morning, we have received more than 130 tips. We thank the community for that.
This is fundamentally different than what happened in Butler. I went to Butler. I'm not trying to brag. We just work our asses off. We laid down in the bloodstains in Butler where the assassin went on a suicide mission to try and kill Trump. Let me explain the differences, since we were personally there and we made an entire documentary about it, and we've done everything we can to try and explain these differences. In Butler, Matthew Thomas Crooks, the assassin, was a gangly, bungling, sloppy jackass. He ran into constantly law enforcement, made himself a clear target, was being trailed by police with his clunky backpack. How he didn't get caught? Well, that's a mystery for the ages. He lumbered across a rooftop, being filmed from below, causing a ruckus, making a scene, getting captured on sniper scopes from the police. Again, it is a generational mystery as to how this individual was not taken out sooner. You can clearly see him lumbering around with a rifle. And then when he gets the piss up to finally pull the trigger, he sprays bullets, killing members of the MAGA community, beautiful fathers and patriots, Corey Compton, who we remember and will always remember forever. And he just fires wildly into the crowd. He strikes 3 other individuals in the crowd, along with President Trump, in the head. Thank God, not a fatal headshot, but nonetheless striking President Trump in the head. That's what happened in Butler. There was no escape plan for Matthew Thomas Crooks. He got taken out by a single shot. You can hear it and see it in the footage clearly. A single shot. Matthew Thomas Crooks was gone. I saw the blood stain myself, traveling all the way down the building for 15 feet and then 20 feet down to the ground. Done in a single shot. A single professional shot took him out. What happened to Charlie yesterday was the opposite. What happened to Charlie yesterday, based on snipers who I spoke with and military experts, professional security and tactical teams with military training and special forces training, that sounded like a professional shot. That was a professional shot. What happened to Charlie yesterday was the opposite of what happened in Butler. While some things on paper are the same, the actual shooting itself was the reverse. Someone trained. Someone was prepared. Somebody plotted for weeks, days, years. Other mysterious things happened. Like, for instance, when the shot rang out, there were individuals on the ground who caused distractions for law enforcement. The shooter, of course, has not been apprehended and is gone. Thankfully, as we just heard, we have the weapon, we have DNA, we have video footage that will all be helpful. But what happens next? Well, it is the biggest manhunt of your life or mine. But the fact that this individual had an escape plan, was able to pull this off and then leave undetected. Charlie Kirk travels with a phalanx of security guards. There's no less than 10 highly trained military agents with him. They're not actively in the military. Many of them have served and trained at the highest levels. Charlie Kirk has an excellent security team, one of the single best in the business. Charlie Kirk, and it is often his events are staffed with law enforcement, as this event was. So to be able to evade all of that, to be able to get a single shot, not one shot, this shooter was not going for mass casualty, was not going for terrorism. A single shot. It was one, according to all available evidence. A single round from 200 or more yards, without anybody accurately capturing or noticing the shooter. And then the shooter disappears and is currently still unapprehended. Yes, there is reason for people to believe that this is a professional hit job. John Solomon is an excellent reporter, and Steven Crowder has some leaked information. I want to talk about both. I want to begin by saying that I'm very, very close with Charlie and his team, and here is the thing that here's what I wish to relay to you from them. That there is some considerable evidence that there were state actors involved here. That's it. I don't want to go any further than that. I can't go any further than that. That is what I've been told. It is not like this is exclusive to me necessarily. John Solomon said it last night on Sean Hannity's show. Here we go.
And we all lost, no matter what side of the political aisle you're on, we lost something important in America today. But the case goes on. The investigation goes on. There's a lot of piecing of evidence together. We don't have a shooter tonight. We have a couple leads, a couple people that were released that probably aren't the shooter. There's a couple hot leads. There's a little bit of foreign intelligence. And I think over the next couple of days, we will learn a lot more. And hopefully we will bring to justice the evil person who did what they did to Charlie today.
Yeah, I hope so. I am hearing that they do have a couple of people of interest. That's the latest I heard from
That's correct.
Law enforcement. You're hearing the same thing.
Yeah.
All right. Final thing from Steven Crowder, and then we will move over to Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, who will be joining us, who has worked hand in glove with Charlie for the better part of a decade, and who, well, quite frankly, will be able to speak for herself on her relationship with Charlie. This from Steven Crowder. This is a leak from the ATF. I put this up because it is something that seems to have been corroborated, certainly in part, by the FBI's own reporting from this morning. Let's go ahead and read. Approximately 12:24 p.m., conservative political influencer Charlie Kirk was shot and killed at Utah Valley University. Kirk was speaking at the university as part of the American Comeback Tour. Again, this is from the DOJ.gov full report. And they talk about what they found. Let's jump to what they found. Agents responded immediately. The suspect fired one shot from an elevated position on a rooftop adjacent to the building. On the campus surveillance video shows the suspect jumping off and fleeing the area on foot. ATF and other law enforcement located an older model imported Mauser 30-06 caliber bolt action rifle wrapped in a towel in a wooded area near the campus. The location of the firearm appears to match the suspect's route of travel. Spent cartridge was still chambered, in addition to 3 unspent rounds in the top of the magazine. All cartridges were engraved with wording on them expressing transgender and anti-fascist ideology. An emergency trace has been submitted to the ATF. Working on leads generated by the trace, the firearm and ammunition have been taken by the FBI and DNA analysis for fingerprint impressions. Upon completion of the forensics, the firearms will be disabled for additional importer information. Multiple people of interest have been contacted and detained because eyewitness testimony and review of video footage. Primary suspect has yet to be identified. ATF is assisting in the investigation. Multiple other federal, state, and local law enforcement. We just witnessed in Minneapolis a transgender shooter who massacred children praying in church. I want to proceed with caution here because we have not heard this directly from the FBI. I'm not questioning Steven's reporting at all. In fact, the vast majority of this seems to be totally corroborated, with the exception of the engravings of transgender and anti-fascist iconography on the bullets themselves. But if that is in fact the case, then you will be able to see precisely what radicalized terrorist network stole Charlie Kirk from us. You will be able to see with your full eyes what movement, what degenerate and dangerous terrorist movement is here to attack Americans who wish to live peaceful lives and save this country. You'll be able to see full demonic evil on display, and we'll be able to understand exactly what we're up against. Ladies and gentlemen, the FBI is asking for help in identifying a person of interest in connection with the fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk. Here it is from Salt Lake City, Utah. This has been sent to us directly by the FBI and our contacts inside of the FBI. And so they are urgent. They are asking urgently for assistance in finding this individual. What can we see here in this image? And let's make it as big as possible on screen. We see a white individual who has dark sunglasses. There's a black long sleeve shirt on with what seems to be an American flag, perhaps an eagle on that shirt. It is clearly security camera footage. This individual looks to be wearing a pair of jeans, white tennis shoes, and a dark hat. The FBI says in its post, "We are asking for the public's help in identifying this person of interest. Please call 1-800-CALL-FBI. Digital media tips. There is a link there. Is this the only images that have been sent? This is it? Okay. All right. So here we have it. At the very least, we can see images of who they believe could potentially be behind the shooting. There were 2, as far as we know, there might have been more, false apprehensions yesterday by law enforcement, which makes all of this extremely mysterious to me. It makes me angry. It makes my blood boil. There were individuals who allegedly put their hands up and declared that they were the shooter and said so very loudly and publicly after the shooting. Was that an op? Was that something that was that happened in coordination in order to confuse law enforcement at this time? I don't know. It's mere speculation. But I do know that something truly evil has happened here. Something that clearly was the black hand of a demonic force that we have been talking about and fighting for the existence of this channel and been fighting with you. Producers asking live here, is that all the information that we have thus far? Okay, that's it. So this is the most recent information. We've brought you everything that we can. Again, I've been sent this directly by our contacts inside of the FBI. They are asking for assistance here. Please share this far and wide and give and pour as much assistance into the FBI as possible in order to find this person of interest, they say. A quick thank you very much for that. That is the number right here. 1-800-CALL-FBI. Sources tell Fox News. This is just sent in by our producer. We're getting it. Obviously, we are in a live news environment right now, doing our very best to what is the responsibility that we have right now? Honor Charlie Kirk's legacy, eulogize him and canonize his life, declare him an American martyr. I have tried in my own humble way to do that as much as we possibly can, putting the full force and muscle of everything that we have here behind that. The next object of business is what killed Charlie Kirk. We must search it out, and we must destroy it. And so we have tried to balance that on this program, ladies and gentlemen, and this breaking news from Fox News sent in by our producers may well assist in that mission. Breaking sources tell Fox News that messages were found written on the gun and the ammunition used in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. This matches Steven Crowder's reporting that there was transgender and anti-fascist, and what is anti-fascist? Antifa iconography on the bullet casings of the firearm. This also has a bone-chilling effect, as it also matches the shooter in Minneapolis, who also wrote and transcribed a number of homicidal, anti-Christian, anti-American, anti-Trump messages on their firearm. We'll put that up, ladies and gentlemen. We happen to be on a short break from the show when that happened. We obviously did pieces on it, but we didn't talk about it on the stream. So I want to show you perhaps a connection. Let's listen to the reporting here from Fox News, and then we will show you what we know. Again, we'll show you the firearms of the Minneapolis transgender mass shooter who shot up and massacred a church full of children. This shooter shooting into a crowd of students and young children. Here's the report.
Federal sources confirmed to Fox News that messages were found written on both the gun and the ammunition here, and those messages are currently being reviewed by investigators. We can't confirm what were in those messages, only that messages were found scrawled on both the gun and the ammunition that investigators have found, and that is under review right now. That gun will be having what's known as an urgent trace by the ATF. That is when they're going to try to find out where the gun was purchased, when it was purchased, what the possible chain of custody was. Keep in mind, the FBI also announcing earlier this morning they found a partial palm print. They also found some footprints, and they do have good surveillance video of the suspect. They just say they're not going to be releasing that video right now. They say those images show that person, whoever it is, jumping off a building and running off into a neighborhood, and that person appears to be college-aged. But again, Harris, multiple federal sources telling Fox News that messages of some kind were found written on both the gun and the ammo, and investigators right now looking at those messages, as here we are about 20 hours after this assassination and still no suspect in custody just yet. But it sounds like investigators are hot on this person's trail. That's all we got right now, Harris. We'll update as soon as we have more.
Here is just a small sampling of what the transgender shooter wrote before massacring a church, shooting 17, killing 2 children because they were Christian, targeting children because they were Catholic. You can see, obviously, the gender equality, defend equality with an AR-15 there. Then you can see K, Donald Trump. I don't even want to say it. And there is an enormous preponderance of further messages, anti-God messages, anti-Christian messages. There was true evil scrawled on the weaponry of this individual. And so it seems to match. What does not seem to match is this. That this was not some type of random and sporadic. Thank you, producers. Thank you. You can put that up. This does not seem to. The thing that this does not match is that it was sporadic and haphazard, clunky and lunky and jackassery, as we've seen from some of these individuals. This seems sophisticated, acute, trained, merciless, and professional. That's the difference. This shooting, the mass shooting in Minneapolis, the shooting of President Trump, all of them were clearly done by extremely mentally ill sociopaths who had very little training and very little sophistication. This operation seems extremely sophisticated. However, it does match, on some degree, these other shootings that we've seen from transgenders. Where is your God? There's what one of the clips said. This, again, not from the Charlie Kirk shooting, from the Minneapolis shooting, which happened just a few days ago. So in case you're wondering if there's a scourge of this violence upon our earth, yes, there is. My producers have sent in one more report from Fox News on the FBI's identification of a person of interest. We're going to play this, ladies and gentlemen, to make sure that at least on this stream, we have as much information as possible out to you. Here we go.
Our show producers are going to work diligently to share that image with our viewers. Harris, back over to you.
Yeah, and we are putting up that image of the person of interest, CV, right now, and we will continue to do that. They are looking for the public's help now. They have obviously tightened their net around this suspect, and the public can be of immediate help just in cutting the timeline. They are going to get this guy. 800 call FBI, and the image that you want to keep, that we'll keep up on the screen as long as possible, is there too. We're also, and I'm kind of saying this to you, but also asking our team wider who's listening to flood our social media with this. All platforms are outnumbered right now as well.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, in our own humble, poor, and inadequate way, we have said goodbye on this program to our friend.